So one thing I would like to talk about today is the trap of scheduling too many activity in one single day, which is something that I've always done and has always been a way to sabotage the quality of my life. I remember I had this huge list of tasks and I would try to fit them all in a single day. And the result of this was that on one end, I wasn't able to focus on any activity I was doing because in the back of my head, I was always thinking about all of the rest of the things that I should have done in that very same day. This created a huge level of unnecessary anxiety, which was 99.9 generated by my obsession of wanting to complete as many tasks as possible in as little time as possible. And that's a vicious cycle that is going to degenerate. So my days never ended. I found myself still working after 12, 14, 16 hours, feeling miserable and unsatisfied and just looking forward to the next moment in which I would completely disconnect, maybe drinking alcohol. But the most important thing is that I lost the ability of thinking strategically and focusing on what really mattered, both in my work and also in other areas of my life. Is this something that happens to you as well, guys? And how do you deal with this? Let me know in the comments. In my case, one thing that I found to be really beneficial was, on one end, starting to manage my agenda very differently, and on the other, starting to condition my mind to familiarizing with a different way of working. So, but the first thing for me was to identify the priorities. So I would take some time to go through all the things that I had to do and identify which were actual priorities and which one were not. Then I would go through each priority and ask myself what was the best order to tackle each and every one of them. And this was based on the individual usefulness, need, and also based on the relationship between them. So after this, I would define in my agenda when I would tackle them. And the most important thing was for me never to frame this in terms of days, but always of weeks or even months sometimes. So I was trying to make sure to allocate even more time than necessary. Then, starting from that, I would begin building my daily agenda, and I was choosing not more than one priority for each day, ideally, or even I would choose to work on one priority over several days. And I was making sure that my agenda was never too busy and that any activity that was not necessary, I would move it forward or maybe put it in a repository of unnecessary activity that would never make it into my next day's agenda. Then, with regards to conditioning my mind, I made sure to consider each day of work completed when I felt that either I completed that priority that I scheduled for that day, or I felt that my work on that was enough for the day, and I would resume it starting from the next one. But the point is that I always refrained from slipping back into that mentality of wanting to burn through tasks. And whenever that thought came back pressing on me, I would simply accept it, observe it, maybe even dedicate some time in seeing if the things that came to my mind were actual priorities or not. And if so, maybe I would schedule them for the upcoming weeks. But I would always refrain from the compulsively starting to tackle them in that moment. As I started seeing that this was something that was actually working against my progress and not towards it.